Hey everybody, in today's video we are going to be discussing my plan on how to beat the Vancouver housing market using Call ETFs. If you are familiar with these investment products, you are probably thinking, how on earth do you plan on doing that with these kinds of investing mechanisms? And if you're not familiar with what Call ETFs are or what income investing is, I just encourage you to check out my other content after this video just to get a better idea of what it is I'm talking about. But naturally, with a channel like this, there always needs to be an income driven narrative to everything that I do here. And this is no exception to that. Okay, yes, we're going to be looking at real estate, but it's to really inspire ideas, drum up conversation, and ultimately to challenge the idea of what it means to own a home in Canada anymore. Is it dare I say, passé? Or is this, another idea in the long list of potentially bad ideas? But I'm going to leave that up to you, as I tentatively try to do with all of my videos, is just present the information, the ideas I'm having. You decide for yourselves whether you think it's a smart idea, bad idea. Throw it in the comments down below and let me know what you think. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's get this train rolling down the tracks on what it is we're about to talk about. Now, when it comes to home ownership, just so you know, I do own a home. I own a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot condo in my target neighborhood of South Surrey, BC. This is a suburb of Vancouver, close to the Peace Arch border to Washington State. Okay, I have actually had a hand in part ownership of different real estate properties since the time I was about 18 years old. Ever since I started working full-time after high school to the time I was 26, I have been invested directly in real estate through my family's business. And for those, basically, I want to say 8 years, I was heavily involved, especially as a plumber, doing basically all the plumbing work in these homes and allowing my investments to actually grow that way. And I never invested in a TFSA until a couple of years ago. Was encouraged to do, and so I did it. And the reason I have what I have now is because of all those years of investing in my family. So invested in real estate for 8 years, then bought it, my current condo, my only condo, in 2017. That's where I currently live. Now, something that I did want to share with you all is, obviously, since the time I was 18 to the time now, at the age of 33, I've gotten married. I have 3 boys. Life is, of course, very filled and very eventful and very rewarding, of course. But that doesn't take away the challenges of housing and prices, and do you sell your essential soul to try to get into something that's essentially bigger? That's one thing that I don't accept right now, is the fact that we hear from media, realtors, just in passing conversations that, this is the best time to buy because it's just going to get more expensive. No, I don't accept that whatsoever. So let's get into I'm bursting at the seams here with where we currently live. We probably should have moved a couple years ago to get into a townhome. That would be the next logical step. Plenty of townhomes in my target neighborhood. But even at the time, it was I couldn't stomach the prices. Now, had I gotten into it and just pushed, that's certainly the motivation of some, that you should just push yourself because you're going to get that value. I still wanted a relatively balanced lifestyle between being able to do some kind of vacation every year. My family and I, we travel throughout the province every single year. That's sort of the thing we like to do here in BC, and we're just about to do it in August, do a big thing through Kelowna and through Nelson. I can't wait for it. Definitely need it. But I want to show you all something that as again, bursting at the seams here. So what did I do to avoid that? As you can see here, this is my deck. It's a 7 by 17 foot deck. And once we had our third kid, we didn't know where we're going to put everybody. Like, we have debated buying a Murphy bed and putting it in our living room, and that's where me and my wife would sleep. But like, when we really thought deep and hard about what that would mean for us, it's like, we didn't like that idea. So came up with the idea of renovating our deck and putting a couple of our kids out here, at least the two older ones. So did my deck always look like this? No, obviously not. It's just, it was in prep for the renovation. And this was the after photo. Okay, so this is where my kids currently sleep now. Some might say, like, how are you able to do that? Our building's old, and a lot of the buildings in my area are also older, 40 plus years, and have strata bylaws that allow for this kind of stuff. So this is actually pretty common within my building and surrounding properties, is you are allowed to do these kinds of enclosures. Okay, so this has bought us some time. We probably added about 130 square feet to our condo. Spent about 30 grand on this reno. We probably added $60,000 to $70,000 in value to our place. And it only, of course, keeps going up and up and up. As ridiculous as it is, at some point, we will outgrow even this. And so what do we do with that? I'll minimize all this. Let's get into some of the home properties, okay? This is why I couldn't stomach affording anything in my target neighborhood. Let's go to some average. I'm not even gonna click on the photos at all. In this kind of market, beggars can't be choosers. You're gonna basically pick up anything that has like 3 bedrooms in it, okay? It's this right here. Who can afford that? I don't know who buys these properties, but it's like, you gotta have, someone in your family would have had to have died, or some other family member would have had to help you out. Maybe you got really fortunate on some sort of investment. Maybe you won the lottery, I don't know. But nonetheless, I can't afford that. And for most of you watching this video, you can't afford that either, okay? You're gonna sell your soul to try to get a down payment like that. And I get it, interest rates, well, they'll go down at some point. At this point in time, they're not. I mean, even if it went down to, say, 3%, that's still a mortgage payment that I still couldn't stomach. That's like, the difference between 5,000 and 7,000 in my eyes is like the exact same. It's no different. Now, where does the income component come in? Well, if you somehow were able to save up this amount right here, 300 grand, you'd still be left with this payment every single month. Well, why not use this money to invest in, say, an income strategy, skip this altogether, and potentially get yourself into a rental property, a nice rental property that can serve your family and would actually drive a cost off the table, right? And for most people, their housing is their most expensive part of what they give out of their incomes every single month. Okay, let's get into the townhouse prices, which are kind of course, more not as expensive, but again, they're townhouses. Like, I can't imagine paying. How am I going to afford? I'm fortunate that I have a well-paying job and I can support my family. My wife gets to stay at home, take care of the kids, but I can't. I crack 6 figures basically every single year. But let's take one of these places, for example. Okay, I won't even these are going to be nice places. They're newer, have all the amenities you can possibly want. Now, just like that last house, I believe $4,800, and then you're going to tack on strata and property taxes as well. That's probably, well, I don't know, that's whatever, $235 a month or something like that for that, plus $300. There's, extra, let's just call it $600 a month. So now you're looking at $500 and $5,400 and change. Let's take these rates down to 3%. What are you going to be paying? Now, of course, the down payment, a lot more manageable, $57,000 for a down payment. Maybe for some that sounds astronomical, but the reality is That's what a more typical down payment should be. That's basically what I paid for my condo as a down payment. Now that we're down at 3%, again, you're going to add tack on another $600, and you're still over you're still over $4,000. Maybe you add more. Let's just go, for argument's sake, let's go $100,000. Again, like a mortgage payment, that's just, like, even if you can afford that down payment and save up for years and years and years, like, you're still stuck with this massive payment. So this is where the income part of this video comes in. The idea of what does it mean to own a home in Vancouver or Toronto anymore. The idea for me is I want to own something. I don't want to just own nothing. I don't want to just randomly rent into something. There's got to be more to it than that. So for me, the idea of whether I would rather own a house or own assets, a diversified portfolio of assets that actually pay out on a monthly basis, sounds way better and more flexible. And I can use that money pretty much anywhere. I can turn my strategy from an income that produces and pays out to cover expenses, and I can use those same investments to turn into a growth strategy. That's where I'm currently at. I use my cover calls, ETFs, in an accumulation phase that I'm still in, that I'll probably be in for the next year to 2-3 years, but the time is coming near where I actually do plan on not liquidating the portfolio, but basically transitioning that portion of the portfolio out of a compounding growth phase into an income producing phase where it actually can cover the cost of what I want to do, is cover the cost of a rental. So when I do eventually go and sell my place, it's going to be for something like this. Yeah, there's some 2-bedroom condos, but basically getting into a house, I'll be able to get into a really nice townhouse, and that's what I'll be paying all in. No property taxes, no strata fees, and this is what my portfolio is going to produce for me. So I will essentially live rent-free. That's what I want to do. This is something I actually posted in my first ever post on Blossom. If you use it, is my goals for 2023. I actually thought I would start this year, but after me and my wife discussing a little bit more, we decided that we're not quite ready for this just yet. The portfolio is not big enough to completely cover these costs, but if I did sell, it would certainly cover most of it. But I do want it to cover basically the whole thing and then a little extra. And again, for most people, this is going to be their biggest cost. Whereas I showed in, say, this first example, right? Like if I had a portfolio that's $350,000 with a 10% yield, it's going to produce $35,000 for me that can cover a rental akin to something like this. There's nice properties in here. I'm quite familiar with a lot of them in my target neighborhood. I've made a point to go to many open houses over the past 7 years that I've lived here, from the townhomes, the condos, and houses alike. So again, as my example I showed earlier, we're taking a potential portfolio this big, and instead of putting it into a house where you got to pay like this stupid monthly mortgage fee, you're using this portfolio to generate income that pays your living expenses for this. I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds pretty good. I get it. It's unorthodox. Most people won't be thinking like this, but for me, I am, and this is what I'm working towards. This is the power of income investing, using cover calls to eventually cover your expenses. What this will mean for me, especially even work-wise, I have the ability to what we call bank our overtime, which means if we bank our overtime, we actually get extra time off. And what that can potentially mean is I can take way more time off every single year, and that's what it's about. It's about buying back time. At the end of the day, that's what investing is. How do you buy back your time? This is one way of doing it. I can see the kind of value it's going to bring to my family. the kind of personal time that I'll be able to spend with the kids, especially in their more influential years. I got kids that are 7, 4.5, and 1. But usually I like to use the oldest one as the benchmark, is that I want to also show him that, hey, look, I invested in a certain way. This is how I'm using it. Now, as always with investing, this is fitting my specific goals. It might not fit his in the future. It might not even fit yours. Maybe to you, the idea of renting just totally doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But again, I ask, this is to inspire ideas, drum up conversation, and to maybe acknowledge that in cities like Toronto and Vancouver, perhaps we have to think differently about what it means to afford a place. I'm telling you this, if you can save up, somehow you can muster up and save up. Granted, it is a lot of money, but it will be your money. You need a lot less money to live in a property like some of these that you see here. Nice townhomes. Some of these go for $1 million. And what you'll need to afford is this, without any debt. No mortgage, is just this. And if you can drum that up, I'm telling you, I think quality of life will go so far. As I said, hopefully this video inspires some ideas, drums up the conversation. If you like what you saw, as always, I appreciate, hit all the buttons of like and subscribe variety, and let me know in the comments below what you think. It really does mean a lot to me, especially on a video like this one where I kind of open up about my own plans, what you guys think. I am super curious to know, did I communicate this properly? This is something that I'm really, I would say, pretty dedicated to doing. It's in the works, especially for the near term. So let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video.